With Big Ten Media Days coming next week, I want to get a jump on some of the questions and really interesting topics that I think are worth considering, not just for Ohio State this year, but Ohio State players in the years to come. What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think Caleb Downs could be the first safety selected #1 overall in the 2026 NFL draft? I think this is important to talk about only because we're talking about the nature of a position versus the nature of a player. I don't think anybody is going to pick a fight about whether or not Caleb Downs was second best player on Ohio State's team last year, Jeremiah Smith being its best player. And that is including Emeka Egbuka, that is including Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Will Howard, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, anybody else you want to throw into this, right? Honestly. Because when you think about what Caleb Downs was able to do at Alabama the year prior, you really have to consider the kind of talent that he is. And I think he's the kind of talent that is on par with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, who went both ways, might go both ways. We think it's going to go both ways. Jacksonville was drafted #2. They traded up to go get him. We've never seen a safety go at 1 because usually the team that is picking at #1 has no need for a safety at that spot. Usually that team is looking for the best prospect that is available that can affect the game immediately. That's quarterback. Sometimes that's wide receiver. Seldom, but sometimes. That's also offensive tackle, protecting the quarterback, or edge, right? I think that Caleb Downs is an interesting guy to consider in this because he does all the things that you want an all-pro NFL safety to do right now. And I don't mind saying Nick Saban has such a reputation, not just as a college football coach, but as a developer of defensive backs that you have to consider. He decided at 73 years old that he was going to start a true freshman at safety at Alabama, not because he had to, but because he needed to. He wanted to. And what did Caleb Downs do in his year 1? But help lead them to the college football playoff and record 107 tackles, which is a record at Alabama that had gone back to 1970 by a true freshman. Then it was, okay, is it playing at Alabama? Is it playing in the system? Well, we got to find out because Saban retired, Caleb Downs transfers to Ohio State, and immediately becomes the kind of guy that you have to talk about going both ways, not unlike Travis Hunter. But you know that 2 is going to play safety for you, and he's going to be all over the field. Jim Knowles was able to put that guy everywhere you wanted him to be. Thinking about Isaiah Simmons when he was destroyer of worlds at Clemson. But it was his punt return for touchdown that I think puts him into the #1 overall pick conversation. Also be quick to mention that he also fumbled a punt return, and then it was, okay, we're going to let Brandon Ennis fill these from here on out. But you've had people talk about using Caleb Downs in goal line situations, the running back. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I don't want that. I don't need any opportunities for Caleb Downs to take some unnecessary punishment. I realize that a lot of y'all believe that 7.5 yards deep, he's just as lethal as he is at safety. I'm like, if he's that lethal, then put him out on numbers. You know, he can do all the things that you want him to do, and you know that because the ball skills are there. If the ball skills weren't there, you can't field punts. Anybody who's ever tried to field a punt will tell you it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Just that's when people aren't running down there trying to hit you and you can't see them because you have to focus on the ball, make the catch, and then worry about whether or not you're going to get blasted, dog. I mean, absolutely stone cold crushed. Yes, we get penalties now for this, and you get fair catch, but if you don't, where they just decide to ignore your fair catch, they can still absolutely destroy you. That's why we don't put our best players back there to return punts as often as we used to. But I also think about it this way. When you had him in coverage, he was just as lethal as when he was reading the run. Like, he was 5th best in the country last year in completion percentage. You threw the ball at Caleb Downs, you were just completing 28% of your passes. Full stop. That's pretty damn good, especially when you realize that he also had 77 tackles mostly running people down, wrapping them up, putting them on the ground. There was no funnel effect like there might have been at Alabama. But we've not really seen a player with his skill at that position since Kyle Hamilton. And if Kyle Hamilton can't go at number one, it doesn't feel like Caleb Downs can go at number one. But if you got a quarterback, and you got an edge, you got a wide receiver, you got an offensive tackle, would you consider it at number one? I guess it depends on what he does in 2025. Because if they find other ways to get Caleb Downs on the field and he becomes the kind of dude that has double-digit interceptions and triple-digit tackles, you're probably going to consider it on a team that is defending the national championship and is trying to get back to the college football playoff once again. I still think if you are enamored with a big tooly quarterback like Noah Sellers or a passing extraordinaire like Garrett Nussmeier, or maybe he shocks us all and Arch Manning comes out in 2026, you're going to go get that guy. That's what you're going to do. But I did want to take an opportunity to just kind of say out loud, he's a first-round talent. We know this. But I also think he has everything you need to be a number one overall pick and that not be such a bad thing. Like that spot has been used to identify with more flameouts than it has successes. Because when you're drafted number one, there's only one place for you to go. It's just down. Being drafted number one as a safety, though, also might help us understand what the market looks like for safeties, too. I'm really curious to find out what the next collective bargaining agreement is going to look like, as it looks like the NFL owners were doing some colluding in ways that are just wild. That, a decade ago, had you learned the ways in which nobody was really bidding on Lamar Jackson's services, I think that would be front page news, but it's not today. We're also talking about players that are in a different tax bracket than they were coming out of college now. Caleb Downs will enter the NFL as a millionaire. That changes the calculus as well. You also are going to get to, I think more guys are going to find college football being a means to an end, right? Like that's the end. The end is to get to college football where you can make, to use Kirby Smart's language, $200,000 a year in the SEC. You put most of that into a hedge fund, into a savings account, diversify yourself, and you really don't have to do much afterward to have your money working for you and live a very comfortable life because you played 3 great years at a great college football program. Most guys just want to get to the NFL anyway. All these things are worth considering as we discuss what it is that Caleb Downs might be able to do, but I did want to give this a little bit of thought as we'll probably revisit this topic throughout the season and talk a little bit more about what we expect from the rest of the Big Ten as we get closer and closer to Big Ten Media Days. Oh, subscribe to the podcast. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. Leave a 5-star review, and I will send you one of these stickers. All you got to do is fill out the description, fill out the form in the description below. Leave that 5-star review, and let me get that thing out to you this weekend.